Bam! Okay guys, so I did a Instagram video. By the way, my Instagram is Stephanie Ketogenic, about like growth hormone. People are talking a lot about growth hormone and about intermittent fasting, but really it's about sleep. It's that circadian rhythm. Very, very important. So as you guys know, I'm writing the Ultimate Keto book. I'm also turning 50. And as I get older, I want you guys to see that if you do the right, let's say, have the right mindset, right? Because your body is a reflection of the way that you think. And if you are doing the right ketogenic protocol, and it might take time, you might be coming from metabolic damage, you do have the ability to balance your hormones. Men, testosterone. I also did a Facebook post. My arm is killing me. I've been at the gym for like a long time today. Not only working out myself, but training a friend. So I was there for hours and hours. But I took some random famous men without a shirt on, and I actually Googled like andropause, and I found those images, and I thought these are great images to have a discussion about what happens to men. Now, we're always talking about women, right? Women and their estrogen dominance, and, you know, big hips and cellulite and floppy boobs, and men are very objectifying of women, but we never really talk about the men. So I'm just saying, some of you men are going through too high levels of estrogen, and so people are desperate. They run to the intermittent fasting in hopes to release growth hormone and testosterone, and what happens? They have insufficient adrenal problems way before. And this is something that is rarely discussed. People will read the work of Dr. Fung and then they think they know the answer. And even though I've worked with almost 3,000 people, people are still out there in the internet stratosphere telling me how the intermittent fasting works. Oh, it worked for me, it was fabulous. But they're not talking to me directly. I'm not talking about their sleep quality or their hormonal levels or their adrenal sufficiencies or insufficiencies, their gut issues, because people don't factor in those things when they try to do radical things to try to get like ripped and lean and all this stuff. They don't actually consider the science behind intermittent fasting. We would intermittent fast in the wild when there was no food. You could go a couple of days without eating, in fact, but we rested. And we didn't have gut permeability problems then, or in some cultures. We didn't have the chronic fight or flight response from technology that is overstimulating the brain and the nervous system. You know, back then they weren't talking about the sciatica. Oh, my sciatica. There's so many guys in the gym that have sciatica. And people aren't talking about what happens when you deplete your glycogen, right? Because you're fasting. Go all night. People are waking up. People aren't considering hypoglycemia in the middle of the night because they just don't think about things of that nature or test their blood sugar. People aren't talking about reactive hypoglycemia in the middle of the day from fasting. They just talk about that growth hormone. Just like people going out and running and trying to do the HIIT training, and they're fasting and they're HIIT training and they become a hot mess. And I see them all the time. They're skinny. Their muscles look like they've been deflated. They look tired. They look like they've got kidney issues. You guys, the body is way more complicated than we kind of imagine. If we could just go do a bunch of cardio and get ripped and lean, it doesn't work like that. You have to balance your hormones. You have to balance your cortisol. You have to balance your stress. It's a lot. If you want to learn more how to really adapt, because people think that you adapt in a few days, people don't understand why I say take out the cheese, even though there's 5,000 videos talking about casein and the problems with casein and about gut permeability issues from the casein or A1 cows, or the fact that these cows are not grass-fed and they are just injected with steroids and freaking antibiotics to get rid of the infection. And nobody's talking about this stuff. They just talk about life as if it's some kind of, I don't know, blurb, like a little blurb here to the side. Our bodies are way more complicated. People are having gene mutations. People are having gut issues from childhood. There's a lot going on, and there's a reason when you walk outside, most people over a certain age don't look healthy. We have to dig deep, go down that rabbit's hole, learn more about the modern diseases from even trying to explain to a woman at the gym today about eating too much vegetation out of season. What presents a problem with that? She just looked at me. She was like a deer in headlight. Like, what you talking about? She's like, I eat healthy. And I was like, okay. Do you get bloated on cruciferous vegetables? I mean, sometimes, but what's wrong with that? I try to explain things about nightshades and salicylates and oxalates and all these plant chemicals and why do plants develop this type of defense and how does that affect the human body. Things are always deeper than once thought. I mean, there's a difference between eating white rice and brown rice. Most of you guys don't know the difference. It's kind of a big deal to know this stuff. Mind everything you put in your mouth. Mind every second of quality sleep at night. Okay, guys, if you want to learn more about how to keto adapt, about the dangers of fasting, okay, they're slowly starting to enter the internet stratosphere of the people are like, what's so wrong with fasting? I did fabulous on it. I was like, why'd you stop? And why don't you look more healthy? I'm just saying. Or doing things like HIIT training when you have adrenal insufficiencies. Why people can't sleep at night, why they're wired, why their cortisol's inverted. You can go to stephanieperson.com, Stephanie the Business Person on my Facebook fan page, or Stephanie Ketogenic on my Instagramming. And I'm writing this book. People are like, when's the turnaround date? And I'm like, well, what you do is you finish, turn it in, then it becomes edited, then it gets sent back to you, you make changes, it goes back and forth, and then when the thing's finalized, then you release a date. Alright guys, that's it, because I'm going to eat and I got some energy.